Welcome back, guys. Does that look like a different tractor to you guys? That is a different tractor to you guys. So, this is a harrow. So normally in the past years, we've always ran a bush hog over our corn stalks. Well, this year we had so much more ground to cover that the bush hog is only 15 feet wide and you can only go like 5-6 miles an hour with it. So this year, this is our neighbor's, by the way, to clarify. And that tractor is our neighbor's, by the way. He's letting us use it. This is like it's like pretty much rolling baskets, like on a disc or something. It's basically that. It's just chopping the corn stalks up as we go, and it's working really good. You can see it's like, it's breaking, it's ripping them out of the ground almost, or it's breaking them like that, or bending them over severely where they're almost broken out of the ground. Now, we will clarify that the bush hog does do a better job at this job, but it's also a lot slower, where this is a lot faster and we use less fuel. So it's a give and take there. But anyways, the tractor, it is a Case International 7140. It's 4-wheel drive. We're using it to pull this, which is nothing pretty much. This tractor is way overpowered for this thing right there. Okay, so yesterday I ended up washing off that harrow we were borrowing from a neighbor's. We washed it for him, and we're done with that for the day. Or we're done with that for the year. So anyways, today it rained overnight, so we're just in the shop fiddling. This is our chicken litter spreader. If you guys remember, back in March we ended up buying this, and we didn't get to spread chicken litter with it this spring, but we have litter to spread with it this fall. So if you guys remember me telling you that the people that owned it before, they had like some ditches and some dips and all that, so they ended up raising the spreader up on these blocks here, so that way it kept the back end of the spreader from hitting the ground, which is a great idea. But we don't have equipment that can load up that high and be able to dump the bucket into the spreader. So it's a lot cheaper for us to drop the spreader back down onto the frame than it is to buy a piece of equipment to load it with. We're going to take these pieces out and put the spreader straight back on the frame of the trailer and be ready to spread some litter. Do I get to spread?
As long as you're supervised.
As long as I'm supervised, they said. Well, whoopsie doopsies. turns out we decided to check last minute before we start cutting. The tractor can reach over top the spreader and dump it. So good thing we didn't drop this thing before we checked, because you see what happened there? We went down a whole lot of work for nothing. And it would be better like this raised up more, so we have more ground clearance. And the higher this bed is, the higher the spreaders are, which means it can spread better without hitting the ground. The last spreader we had, we did not own, we borrowed it, but it was 16 feet long, and it had 2x6s on the top there to help hold more litter.
It was like 2x8s or 2x10s.
Oh, well, 2x8s or 2x10s. One, two. But anyways, it made it really difficult for this tractor behind me here to reach up in there and dump it because it's so much taller. So with this thing having the tubing on there lifting up, it's about the same. But this bed is 20 feet long, so it's 4 feet longer than the previous one, so it's going to hold more litter anyways, and we're not putting boards on top of it. So now the 30 minutes I spent on taking all these bolts out so we could lower the spreader was wasted, because now we're putting the bolts right back in. Since the tractor is going to be able to load the spreader with the litter, this bucket is a little bit small for litter, because the litter is such a light material that this tractor could handle more than this size bucket is, if that makes sense. So anyways, for this year, we're just going to weld some angle iron on it right here. We're going to put a 2x6, help extend the bucket. And then hopefully next year, can we buy a new bucket for next year?
Maybe.
Just maybe.
Maybe so.
I'll have to do the bidding for them though. Alright, we are going to start the spreader for the first time we've ever owned it. So yeah, I hope nothing breaks. I would do some cool action shots for you guys, but the person who used this last before we got it spread gravel with it, so when the belts and spinners are running, it's throwing gravel everywhere. I don't want to lose my eyeballs today, so you guys are going to get a non-action montage. So So that is what you use. You put that in there when you're spreading lime, because lime is such a heavier material that it'll put more weight on that conveyor belt, or chain as you could call it. So that way, that helps divide that lime, and it's not so much weight straight on there. But with chicken litter, it's not as heavy, so you can just pile it straight on top of there. So we had a little accident while I was welding that thing onto the bucket. My boot right here stopped holding air. And for the ones of you that never had anything on here, this is like a cast, like a hard cast, but instead it holds air and it keeps pressure against your foot, so it's support basically. And turns out I actually broke or fractured a bone in my foot, and the other bone I fractured is in my ankle. So apparently I broke my foot and my ankle. Who knew? I didn't know that. But anyways, so yeah, it's not holding any more air. So basically I'm just walking around barefoot without this thing on. At this point I should just go put on my actual work boots so I don't fry my toes off when I'm welding and all the sparks hit my toes. But yeah, I go back in 2 days for my checkup. Look, here's what the spreader is firing off. Doesn't that feel like it'd feel real nice if it hit you in the eyeball? But anyways, yeah, the doctor was not too pleased when he heard that what I've been doing the past 2 weeks was farming and harvesting and doing all that stuff. You know what his first answer or question was? He was like, "Do you use your foot when you drive that stuff?" I'm like, no, definitely not. No, I don't use my foot to drive a tractor while I'm under parent supervision. No, who does that? So, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember, faith, family, farming. See you in the next one.